Welcome, Sojourners. This is Jonathan with Sojourners Awake. In this episode, the Sojourners find themselves in the middle of the desert of Avernus with a busted dragon wagon. I imagine the dragon wagon looked a lot like a minivan or a little bus that they drove around, and it's been destroyed and they're trying to repair it, and that's where the scene begins. I think we did a lot of good roleplay I think we did a lot of good social interaction in this episode. Really good examples of using all the senses to engage with your environment, and even a couple of skill challenges that resulted in a lot of great storytelling. In fact, I think it propelled the story forward, as you will find out. There was one example where I borrowed a scene from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, the one that starred George C. Scott. And it was the ability to take a human experience and turn it into a human presentation. And this allows us to really wrestle with things that plague our society as if they were living, breathing people. So let's see if you find out where I placed that. But really, that's the great thing about any kind of role-playing game is you get the opportunity to take things that are intangible and turn them into something tangible, like anger turning into killing a dragon. Really, the sky's the limit. Or in this case, the desert of Avernus, the first layer of hell. And that's where we find our sojourners. And so for now, our story continues. The Sojourners gathered close together in Grovelore Cave. Zariel, a tall, imposing devil, stood before them, secured by her soldiers and captain. Her captain, Bel, stood aside watching and studying. His salt and pepper beard swayed gently in the low wind coursing through this cave. After recovering from battle, the Sojourners decided to meet with Zariel regarding their plans in Avernus. The fiendish warlord clenched her hulking fists as time passed on, but she reserved a smile for them as she granted them a moment to come together in agreement. Upon much deliberation, the Sojourners decided the best course of action was to notify the Archduchess of Yinigu and his plan to slowly sneak in the Croatoic, a large demon slug designed to transport hundreds of foul creatures. They decided then to take up Zariel's offer to temporarily join her army and defend the Stygian docks upon the Black River Styx. This opportunity would give her soldiers enough resources to repair the dredges and pumps to sift through the toxic water for the missing souls lost in the winding Black River. Zariel gladly offered them the dragon wagon, weapons, armor, and tools to prepare them for the job ahead. She wasted no time then summoning her troops to move out and brace for the continued assaults from the abyss. However, the captain and former Duke of Avernus, Bel, made a pass at the Sojourners, revealing that he believed in a better plan, a compromised plan, and a balanced war. And then he revealed to them the location of Angel Strike, the hidden key to Zariel's redemption. Along with Farias, Stormbite, and others in this motley crew upon the dragon wagon, the Sojourners boarded and roared off into the desert once again, with two offers upon their hands. But as fate would have it, for indeed, these Sojourners have a destiny. Zarion drove the uncontrollable war machine into a gully. And so in the middle of the desert of Avernus, with a firestorm well on the way, our story continues. And upon the wreckage of this machine, as everyone stands around with their hands upon their shoulders, wagging their heads at the incompetence of the driver, with parts streaming about the desert, find Felthran Grovelore off just a little distance. And Felthran, what do we see?
Well, you first see Felthran say something along the lines of, "It looks like third time's a charm with other drivers." And then he just kind of quietly wanders off. And as he gets off a little distance, you see him look up to the sky and then kind of look down to the ground and look towards mountains. He's not exactly sure where to face, so he finds the tallest mountain he can see. And it's probably unintelligible to you guys, but you can hear murmuring off in the distance. And but what he says is, "Morden, father of dwarves, you are good. Thank you for introducing me to Lycaon, the Lightning Lord from Arcadia. And thanks for Ark. Help my companions to take heart and trust you. Garindan is connecting with Lathander. Hay is with his lady. Bramble and Zarion don't seem to worship any gods. I know you can help us all and lift our spirits. Avernus is getting the best of them, and all of the fighting in this evil place is wearing them out. You know, they aren't old dwarfs like I am. We have to work with some evil people to accomplish the greater good. I don't understand this well, so I'm trusting you and my companions to guide me. Also, Serena and the old gods and those waiting for me in Arcadia strengthen me some. Oh, Morden, I've been tormented by a voice in my head, and it's getting louder. He's trying to get me to be selfish and live for myself at the expense of all others, and especially at the expense of the greater good. So far, I have resisted the torment, but I need your help to stay the course. I just want to finish what we have to do here and get back to Bonzarel and Grovelord. Please help us. Oh, and help Felix serve the greater good too. And then he'll just kind of wander around a little bit more and kind of peek over his shoulder, and if it looks like something is moving forward or somebody's starting to do something worthwhile, he'll wander back.
Felthran, upon arrival back to the wreckage scene, Farias is standing next to Zarion and Bramble, and he's just kind of pointing to the igniter and say, "Well, now, it looks like that igniter, it's a lot more volatile than I thought. So, you know, one of us is going to have to spend some time trying to figure out the wiring and everything just to make sure that thing doesn't blow a fuse. Like I said, you ever heard of a fireball? Well, just think of that 20 more times and it'll light you on fire." He kind of pokes at Zarion's skin and says, "But that wouldn't bother you now, would it?"
I can tell you what bothers me. A broken vehicle that I have to drive in the middle of the blistering desert.
Hey, listen, man, we are in a bit of a war, and so we got to do what we got to do. Now, we got a situation right here. I got my crew right there. We're ready to go on to the Stygian docks, just like Archduchess said. But you and yours crew, you got to bust a wagon. Ain't no lie about it. So, I mean, we ain't got to point no fingers or anything. I mean, you did what you had to do, and we did what we had to do. But someone's got to fix this igniter.
I'll fix it. But
All right.
I need to know, is there anything else about the vehicle that has to be tended to?
Well, now let's see how smart you are. Make a investigation check. Bramble, to what do you pay attention to as Farias and Zarion are talking about the faulty warp machine?
I think he's kind of like seeing where Farias is pointing, but not listening to his words a whole bunch, hearing that he's not saying anything useful. And he's gonna maybe just try to learn a little bit about how the system works. Not that he has any particular insight, just kind of sit and think about it for a bit.
What did you get, Zarion?
19. 16 plus 3.
Yep. All right, so you do know that it's going to take about 500 gold to get the faulty ignition back to working. It's going to be about 2 hours of work, and you're going to have to test it to see if the igniter doesn't simply just incinerate the whole vehicle. Bramble, what you discover as you kind of look around this dune buggy, you see that there is a large pool of demon ichor that is slowly leaking out of the bottom. It seems as though the fuel line has been busted. You kind of crawl your small body under there. You quickly see that the fuel line itself is made from this really hard animal skin. And there's a serious rend in that fuel line. Would require simple animal skin to patch.
Well, it looks like I found another problem under here.
Well, look at that. Ain't you some kind of mechanic?
I'm just, pretty sure that a big puddle of ichor is not a good thing.
Oh yeah, that's coming out a bit. That's going to be at least 200 gold and probably about 4 hours of work. But tell you what, we passed a herd of cuchillas, those little pig devils. They're all herding out there. If one of y'all can hunt them, we could skin them and just put that animal skin right on that fuel patch and get it done before the ichor leaks out.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
All right, well, don't make them mad. They'll gore you to death pretty good. And hey, well, you're save some for us. We're not devils and everything. We got to eat. Bring the meat back because we could save it for later.
All right.
Bramble, you go off and take the mission to capture a cuchilla. Do you go it alone?
What's the intelligence of these creatures?
-4.
Okay.
They're beasts.
I'm thinking about if there's some way that he would be able to isolate one. Like if there's cover where he could get close to one and do a sneak attack on it, or some way isolate one. If he can come up with a plan to do that, if something stands out to him, then he'll do that. Otherwise, he'll call on Felthran to...
Can I cast Pass Without a Trace on them?
Yes, you can.
Well, I'm going to cast Pass Without a Trace on Bramble so he can actually get the job done without too many interruptions. If anything does happen, he'll be safe.
Plus 10 to your stealth roll, Bramble. That's exciting. It is quite a distance away, so you're going to have to get not completely without an eye shot. You can see the herd of cuchillas right under one of those mountains where Felthran was praying towards. They've congregated there, and it looks like they're just rooting around for like scraps of food. You would have to cross the plains and find a rock or an iron petrified tree to hide behind until they were unaware of your presence. But you would be within quite a running distance, save something should happen here in the open plain.
He'll head off in that direction, and as he passes by Felthran, he'll say, we need to get some hide from these things over there. You can come if you want to. It's a bit of a distance.
Well, I'm not very stealthy, so how about this? How about you go, and I'll keep an eye on you. And if you start to get out of eye distance from me, I'll sneak your direction a little bit so I can keep an eye on you and on these guys.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Arc.
Papa Bear.
Arc jumps up upon Felthran's shoulder and begins crackling a little bit of electricity. Zarion, as you're sitting in this driver's seat, you're looking at the ignition. The wires are completely open with no metal plate covering or protecting them. And you can see they lead to a large conductor in which all the demon ichor flows and surcharges to power this machine as you turn the wheel. But very quickly you're able to put the steering wheel back up on, secure it with a bolt. But to repair this igniter so it's not so faulty and volatile, I would ask, how are you proceeding with this?
I'm staring at the mechanism, and I have to repair the wiring. Connect all the wiring that needs to be connected. Clean the demon nigger off the thing so there wouldn't be any ignitions going on. So the place wouldn't burst into flame. And with all that done, I test the vehicle. I pop. Is there a key? Stick in the key ignition.
Yeah, it's
turn it on. I've revved it several times, hit the gas pedal several times, and it's revving up, and I stop for a few moments to see and look to see if there's anything there else that has to get fixed.
While that is happening, Garindan, Stormbite, the large werewolf, kind of looks at this back tire of this dune buggy, and there's this large demon skeleton that has been run over, but its sternum has punctured a hole in the tire. And you can see that it's going to take some level of deftness in order to pull this thing out. Otherwise, the demon skeleton is causing the imbalance of the axle and the wheels. And Stormbite is just sitting there scratching his behind, looks at you. Well, do you know how to fix it?
Garindan will snap too, because he dived out of the car looking for hay, and the last one. And so he's just looking around and just scratching his head like, that crazy guy's disappeared again. Like, just almost dies, and then now we can't find him. A wheel. Well, I can do a mending spell once we get that thing out of here. Repair the hole.
Give me a hand. And
All
together, together you and Stormbite begin to pull upon it. Simple enough. Let's make a strength check.
13.
13. Okay. Make it with advantage since Stormbite is helping you.
9. Not strong.
Please subtract 200 gold from this project.
Yeah.
And you are unsuccessful. And what ends up happening is you pull and pull on this demon spine, and you rip through, and the shards of bones go flying. Yet the sternum is still impacted into the tire, but this time it's flush with the tire, so you can't actually get a grip upon it.
This looks like a Felthran job.
Yeah, but look. And he kind of pushes the dune buggy back and forth, and you notice that it's not jolting anymore, as it is flush with the tire. Nevertheless, the spine itself is still at risk for rupturing the wheel. I think you made it worse. Farias, he made it worse.
Well, I'm the brains of this outfit, not the strength.
Yeah, you're not very smart, though. Stormbite just storms off, trying to get away from this failed project. And Zarion, you're going to go and start the ignition?
Yes.
All right. It's going to be 200 gold, and you're going to have to make an Arcana check.
Check.
This is technology.
All right, I'm 50 coin gold short. I only got 150 in my bank in a coin.
Sure, you can borrow it from somebody.
All right, Arcana check, right?
Yep.
Ooh, 2 plus the 3, that's 5.
Okay. So Garindan, as you're sitting there, you're trying to pull this off, this bone out, and at the last minute you kind of turn around. Felthran, you're walking back to the cave. Stormbite turns around, and you hear this click, Zarion, and the igniter fails, dealing 14 fire damage to you. Felthran, you get flashed with 14 fire.
I'm invincible to fire, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I still take damage or no?
No, you're just on fire right now.
Okay. So I just casually step out the car, back the stuff off, and I run over to the other guy who's got caught on fire. I roll him I push him to the ground,
Don't touch me.
Pat him down.
You've done enough damage, Zarion. First you can't drive, then you can't fix.
Stay away from the demon Nika, you fools. Where's that coming from anyway?
It's just pooling and leaking. Bramble, while you're, how do you approach this herd of Kuchilas?
In some way, so he sees the petrified forest that's not terribly far from them, so he goes kind of a circuitous route to make sure that that petrified forest stays between him and the majority of the herd, so he can get relatively close. And then he'll come to the edge of it that's closest to them and wait for maybe up to 5 minutes. He's not looking to spend a whole lot of time at this, but just to see if any of them happen to separate, or if he can figure out a pattern in how they're moving or something like that. And if no great opportunity arises, he'll sneak out as carefully as he can to get within range for the glove of firing.
Make an animal handling check to see if you can determine the best way to approach them.
All right. A 6.
This presents a challenge to you, as they are not really diverging from each other. They seem very instinctively protective. They keep their wounded, their young, and their elderly within the circle, and the larger bulls stay on the outskirts. One of them sniffs the wind and seems to spot your approach, but let's see how stealthy you are. Make your stealth check, plus 10. Okay.
39 with the plus 10.
39. Okay. Yeah, you notice that the Kuchila that was paying attention to you all of a sudden looks up, and you quickly, like, in the periphery, you can see hay floating upon a kite string out in the distance, near the wreckage, and all of a sudden this large firebomb just goes off. Zarion steps outside. He's on fire and trying to pat Felthran out, and Felthran and him are tussling back and forth. Tempers are flaring up. You will make your attack with disadvantage.
Okay. Modded 20.
That's enough. The missile goes firing through the air, and you hear this loud squeal. And the one that is wounded just begins running around in this cyclonic circle, leaving a trail of blood just going out. It disperses the herd momentarily until they regroup and rout away, sniffing in the wind to see where the predator is at. Naturally, they go away from the fire blast. Slowly and stumbling, this dizzy creature slumps to the ground, its blood draining out.
Felthran would run that way when he hears the pig squeal, if he's close enough to hear it.
Felthran, you arrive next to Bramble, and together the two of you are standing over this Kuchila, this 6-legged pig creature with a large spined tail.
I guess we gotta take it back.
Well, it's not quite dead yet. One more bolt to the head.
Save your bolts.
Watch out for its tail.
Save your bolts, and then Felthran will get on the head side of the thing and crush its head.
Make a dex save.
7.
Oof, yeah. So we'll just do that. 12 points of spine damage, 12 points of piercing damage of the tail. Right as Bramble says, watch out for the tail, and then the tail just whacks you in the head instinctively, leaving 3 large spines sticking in your skin.
Oh.
Yeah, that tail.
Oh. I guess I should have traded for the axe.
All right. Well, let's get this thing packed up.
Don't grab it by the tail.
Together, the two of y'all walk back, dragging this Kuchila, and Farias looks at you, Bramble, and Felthran says, well, at least we've had some kind of success. Dadgum, man. Let's skin this big thing and get that fuel line wrapped up. Bramble, if you would minus 150 gold to get this job done.
Don't have it. All right, Garindan's bankrolling the whole operation.
Okay, pretty much.
I have cash too.
Yeah. So altogether, 150, 200, and 500 gold to get the project complete. It's been 4 hours. The ignition is not repaired and still very volatile. And while the back left tire is not going to jolt and risk knocking anyone off, it is possible that there might be a mishap and the entire tire just go flying off and explode. So
question real quick. Their guys are doing all this work and they're charging us for it as they're fixing it?
The gold is more representing the time and energy and resources.
Okay. But we're doing the work.
Yeah, you're actually rolling. Yeah, you're doing the work and everything. Right. Stormbite tried to help Garindan. Farias tried to help kind of navigate everything, but for the most part, yeah.
Felthran's going to look at Bramble and say, help me out if I'm not being too persuasive. And then he's going to look at Farias and say, hey, don't you have to get to the docks? I mean, if you guys are delayed too long, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and he's pointing to the suns. He says, you see that horizon right there? We got about 2 hours left of daylight. And I'm reckoning you boys have not spent a night here in Avernus. You think daytime's bad. He kind of looks at you, Zarion, in a knowing way. Nighttime's pretty bad. You best want to take cover. I was kind of figuring, I kind of see that you're handling yourself. That's not a bad idea. Farias seems very relieved at the fact that you mentioned you might save him some time and risking the cover of darkness.
Well, I would say that either you go with your friends to the dock, or you stay here and fix this, and we'll take your buggy and go to the dock. You choose.
Wait, hey, yeah, no need to be pushy, man. I'm an easy sell. Don't overplay your hand or anything. That don't get you very far in Avernus. But I like your idea. Hey, Stormbite, go and wrap everything up, man. I think these boys got it here. Just watch that ignition, because Zarion can take the heat, but I'm reckoning that henfolk over there, he'd be burnt up into crisp.
Dwarves don't like it very much either. Okay, let's keep working on this, guys. Let's try to get it done before dark.
Oh.
Farias, Stormbite, and the rest of the devils, the Fae, they all leave, and you hear the rumble of their engines tear away into the darkness. Farias says, I'll see y'all at the docks. Don't be too long out here.
We'll get there as quick as we can.
Oh, I forgot to tell you one thing. And then he drives off.
Should have took their vehicle.
But now we can go get the sword, guys.
Well played, Felthran. Well played.
I did it for once.
You charming old bugger, you.
There is a large Kuchila carcass that is sitting on the back of the dune buggy that Farias forgot to bring. It lies there, the meat fresh. The dragon wagon seems to be prepared for now. However, the ignition still not repaired. How do you proceed, Garindan?
So, with his mending spell, will he be able to do anything to patch up any holes, to fix any tears, kind of put a little extra love on anything?
Taking a little bit of extra time, since we didn't spend too much time with you, I'll allow you to do an Arcana check, just to see if you could figure out how to use mending on this dragon wagon. 13. It's taking quite a bit of time, but do you focus most of your efforts upon that demon spine, or do you want to go elsewhere upon the machine?
I'm thinking the tear in the fuel line wouldn't be terrible.
That's already fixed.
Oh,
right?
that's already fixed? Then yeah, I'm thinking more this wheel. I don't want it to blow out at an opportune time.
Okay, so Garindan, you spend some time concentrating despite bolts and nuts and things rusting, completely falling upon. One time, this little human skull just collapses to the ground and bumps up against your knee as you're like a welder, just focusing all your energy, just melting the rubber of this tire just enough to fuse with the demon skeleton. And eventually it becomes one piece together. And you feel successful. So how do you proceed?
Aha! I did something. I wouldn't recommend hitting it, but it's as good as I got.
All right, Bramble, can you help Zarion with that engine thing and try not to light me on fire again?
Maybe I can help from over here?
Well, Garindan's gonna run over and just clap them both on the back, cast guidance, and hit them. You guys have got this. Don't worry. 2 heads are better than 1.
All right, let's take a look.
Bramble, given the circumstance, how would you proceed with the best way to repair this?
I think I'd talk to Zarion and see if he can figure out what went wrong.
Well, apparently this thing's busted. I'm trying to get it fixed. It's giving me a couple of trouble. I'm not sure what it is. We may have to open it up and take a look inside.
Did you check all the lines, make sure nothing's crushed?
That's what I want to do. I mean, but for us to be possible, I have to bust this thing open and take a look inside and find the problem where it is before I start the ignition.
All right, well, I'm gonna go back there while you open it up, and I'll come over once it's good and open.
Zarion, you go to the front. You pop open the hood, and this noxious odor, gas and sulfur begin to burp forth from this ancient war machine. And you see like bits of machinery, gears and cranks and pistons melded together. You see oil and grease, but hidden in the compartments of this war machine are humans, gaunt, nearly skeletal, with sallow eyes and cheeks, lying in between the gears and the cranks. They slowly crane their necks towards the light of the setting suns, and indeed in your direction. They open their mouths to speak, but yet not strong enough to utter a word. 4 or 5 of them crammed up in here.
Well, okay, I see. The humans are starved. Is there a way can we feed them?
There is no food that will satisfy us. We are the gluttonous. We are the lusty. We are hungry. One of them reaches forward and grabs your wrist, Garindan. His eyes nearly pop out of his head and said, I am fearful. And I am afraid. Why are you here?
We are here to bring balance and do the greater good. If it includes helping you all, then we're here for you.
What is your name?
I am Garindan Greybeard.
Garindan Greybeard is my god now. I will listen to these last words, and I will fear upon them. I will fear the balance. And his hand pulls away, leaving an icy cold residue on your wrist. Zarion, the other one, looks at you and begins to slowly paw towards you, smacking its lips, and begins salivating, trying to take a morsel of anything in the air, sucking on a plume of smoke, licking the oil up off the engine, singeing its tongue. I'm the hungry. I am hungry.
You want food, I take it? Is there anything?
Give me your life. Give me your attention. Give me your concentration. I will take everything you have.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't we start with food instead?
What is your name?
Zarion.
Zarion, I am your friend.
Okay, friend. I can offer you food. I can offer you coin. I can offer you something, but my life I cannot give you.
I will take the coin. I will take your attention. I will take your time. And eventually I will take your life. And then he slumps gently into the machine. And then you see the wire frayed, burst, standing and looking at you. The only sane thing coming from this engine. Garindan, at the simultaneous time, you also see this frayed wire, the source of your problems.
I don't think there's much we can do for them, but let's get our vehicle up and running. You see that there? What do you think we have to do?
Well, first, if they try to get in the way, there may be a problem if they get in the way. I'm not much for hurting human beings, but we have to get this vehicle up. I recommend we toss a meat in to keep the hungry one busy for a while. And while he's eating, we repair the vehicle. And if all else fails, we can have Felthran deal with the uncooperative one.
They seem pretty integral to this machine. We need them to make it roll.
Yes, we do need them, but not all of them, let's put it that way. One of them goes, the other one can work the rest. The hungry ones I'm worried about. Keep the other one alive, who sees you as a god. He's to be a more cooperative one. As I said before, we do real well with one of them. Just toss a slab of meat in there. I'm pretty sure he'd be preoccupied with that, eating that. Repair the wire, and I can start this ignition and we'd be on our way out.
Sounds like a plan.
Felthran pulls some food out of his bag, gives it to the hungry one, says, "Okay, do your work, friends."
Begins to slobber it up. Garindan, how do you proceed?
He's watching, readying his warding flare just in case they make a quick move to do anything. And he's kind of in two minds, because he's watching them, but at the same time he wants to help them, but he doesn't quite know what it is they need. Because obviously they're quite sick, and so he's thinking about praying for healing for them, but he doesn't know if it's going to help them or if it's going to hurt so he's just really torn. He's quite conflicted by this scene.
Garindan, what can you do to help these people? Clearly they're humans. They don't belong here.
Clearly they're mortal. I think they need help from a higher power than me. This guy claims me to be a god, but we all know that's not true.
Well, you know who to talk to.
Yes, you were right, brother. Thank you. That it came from my fellow dwarf. Yes, and Garindan will cast divination.
As you cast the spell, communing with the divine, what sort of features accentuate this scene? I imagine the dune buggy sitting there with the hood open. The arms and legs and tails of these creatures are beginning to crawl out of the machine. You may have to bat one to get it back into place. Bramble's at a safe distance, Felthran at your side, and Zarion leaning over into the hood, trying to assess the damage done. What does Garindan do?
So Garindan, with the fumes coming off, and then just the smell in the air, the humanity and the brokenness, and knowing that all things are made new in Moradin's forge, he reaches out to his roots, and in this place of Avernus, he's kind of forgotten a little bit because he's been focused on Lathander, but the love of Moradin for his people is pouring out to his love for humanity, of this wretchedness, of this brokenness and lust, and the fact that they're here and just constantly wanting, and he wants to fill that because that's what Moradin's done for him. Moradin, is there something I can do for them?
With one knee upon the desert floor, your head bowed in reverence, you feel a strong hand upon your shoulder. A radiant heat, unlike the dry, unforgiving heat of Avernus. You hear that strong paternal voice. My dwarven son. Sadly, some people's existence are just a cautionary tale
to the wise. You know of those who take black holes of resources. Nothing can satiate their hunger. Not you. I worry more for the tug in your heart. Futile adventures. Stay the course, and let these remain as a caution to the wise, for that is their lot.
They have chosen their gods.
Garindan, and he reaches out a hand to you. You are our friend. We fear Garindan.
And then he'll try to intimidate them to stay away.
Look, I know this may seem a little cold, but understand there is a group of humans in the other machine that they drove off with. We don't have time to rescue every last one. This is normal here in Avernus.
And it breaks my heart. But right you are. We should be about this. They have their food. I'm ready if they make a move. You ready?
I'm ready.
Right.
And the wire stands there, frayed and broken. How do you proceed?
I go in waist deep. I lean in, reach down as far as I can. I quickly grab the two wires. I work them together tightly, connecting each strand to where it belongs. It's popping right now. It's stinging my hand. I'm trying to hurry up and fix it before everything fix it. I tug on it a little bit more, tie it up real tight, and move it a little bit to make sure it's secure. I push out of the engine, slams the hood closed.
As you do so, paws and hands and feet grope all around your sides and your legs. One hugs you, its skinny skull resting upon your neck, embracing you as you sit there and put this wire back together. With Garindan's help, advantage, and your guidance, please make a sleight of hand check.
That's 16, 11 plus 5.
And use your guidance, because it's
Roll
been a minute.
1d4.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm gonna roll your guidance for you.
that's the one I'm missing.
It's a 1.
Wow. Fun times, right?
All right, so 16 plus 1.
Yes, 17.
You get it done. It takes a long time. Bramble, you watch the horizon. The suns begin to drop deeply over the horizon. And for the first time since you've been in Avernus, darkness floods over the plain. I'll give you a minute to respond as Zarion patches up the rest of this wire.
Yeah, the longer it takes, Bramble's just getting sort of more and more nervous, and keeping his eyes on the horizon, looking out for whatever trouble Farias was talking about. Doesn't know exactly what he's expecting, but he's looking up and looking around.
Yeah, go ahead and make a post-perception check.
Rolled a 17, so it's a lot.
Probably good. You hear the humming and the thrumming of wings. Buzzing sounds like insects. They don't sound quite like the demons that you experienced before. They sound more predatory and a lot more like beasts hunting the field. You see the shadows grow as the light begins to spread. Large wasp-like insects humming and buzzing around you, beginning to swirl. Under the cover of night, they hunt these hell wasps.
We have this vehicle is the bus-like one, or is it?
Yeah. Hay is still kind of floating off on the kite string.
We should get Hay down. We're gonna have company soon from the air.
I think we should try to travel. I don't know that there's any safe place for us to camp, so let's start heading towards where the sword's supposed to be. Let me see that map again.
And as Zarion finishes the last touches, you hear the engine begin to spark again and rumble safely. With the fuel line intact, the demon ichor still present. You got quite a couple hours of drive time available. The hood is slammed and the humans trapped back inside. Felthran, as you and Bramble begin looking over this map, you see the insignia of Bell, in which he indicated in the middle of the wasteland the location of Angel Strike, not but 3 hours away.
Let's go that way.
And who among you drives the distance?
Felthran does.
Zarion, you find that Felthran's in the driver's seat. Felthran, would you make a survival check followed by a strength check or athletics for survival and athletics? That's pretty near. Oh, natural 1.
Oh no, that's not good.
Really? Pride cometh before the fall. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of the game. Ooh. Hope you had fun.
Felthran steps on the gas pedal, drives as fast as he can into the closest petrified tree to kill all of his companions.
Okay. All right.
Then Hay drifts off.
The Hell Wasp's carrying him away. Yeah. Zarion just walks. Garindan crawls under the hood with the corrupted souls. Well, Sojourners, that was very interesting. In case you didn't know, a while back, I think the episode was Demons on the Doorstep. Felthran killed a Knoll captain, and he failed a Constitution saving throw as this horrible hyena-like demon burst forth and, puffed this cloud of smoke that Felthran inhaled. The result of this, if you've been following along, was the voice of Yenigu, the beast of butchery, the demon lord, has gained access into Felthran's head. As a mechanic, I decided that as soon as Ted rolled a natural 1, it would trigger the takeover of Felthran Grovelore by Yenigu. Oh yes. And he's a fighter, so he's been rolling all this time and he never once has rolled a natural 1. But as soon as Felthran stepped into the driver's seat to take his sojourners across the wastelands of Avernus, Ted rolled a natural 1. And so I think that's a great place to stop this episode. Please continue to tune in as I prepare the second half of Onward and Upward toward the prize. Thanks again to Tabletop Audio for their wonderful background sounds and ambiance. I do support them, and you should too. You can visit them at www.tabletopaudio.com. And so for now, our story concludes.